Hi, and welcome to Alaskan in the Philippines, currently in Thailand. Today I thought I'd tell you all about some folks I've been meeting. I've been meeting some of my guys watching my videos. It seems they pop up on the Hua Hin channel, and all these retired guys here are seeing them, and I'm getting a few guys I'm saying hi to and stuff. Shout out to all you guys. I'll get back to that. But I met a couple yesterday from Poland, and they've been traveling all over, and they just told me they traveled all through Thailand. I said, "Where you guys been?" They said, "Oh, we've been everywhere." I said, "Oh, really?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, where do you like it the best?" He looked at his wife, and they both looked at each other, and he goes, "Right here." And I have to say, that's about the fifth person that I've talked to that said the same very thing. Even when I flew in here, I met a guy. I can't remember where he was from, but he was traveling all over. He was worked online. He was able to fly all over and travel. And he told me too. He was going to Hua Hin. I said, "Really?" "Yeah." Is that the best place?" He says, "Yep. It ticks everything I want. It's right there." I said, "No kidding." And and then I fast forwarded just not long after that. I got on the plane from Cebu, Philippines, to fly here. And when I got off, I went down to the bus terminal to wait for a bus, and there was a Canadian down there from BC, and he'd been just traveling all over. He was working from his laptop too. He had a deal with his boss. He could work from home, so he was just traveling, working online, and he getting his work done and making money. And he said he'd been traveling 3 years. I go, "Oh, wow." I go, "Where are you headed?" And he goes, "Hua Hin." I go, "Really?" He goes, "Yep." But he got called back to the office. He had to go back to Canada. He wasn't quite old enough to retire. He was pretty bummed about that. He had to leave. But he was going to spend his last 3 months here in Hua Hin. He'd long since left. That was back in October, probably September and October when he was here. When I first flew in. I flew in September. So anyway, that was another guy, and he had traveled all over the world again. And I asked him, "Well, so where did you go, and where's the best place you've been?" And he's told me Hua Hin too, right after this other guy told me that. I said, "Really?" That's the second time I heard that. So here I am in Hua Hin. And since I've been here in Hua Hin, you meet people. If you do meet foreigners, they're from all over, and a lot of them are real seasoned and well-traveled people. And every one of them that are well-traveled, when I talk to them, first thing I ask them if they've been traveled all over the world, since I'm curious, trying to pick the best spot to retire, probably like you guys too, And I always apply that question to each and every one of them if I find somebody that's been around. Where did you like the best? And they always say, so far, almost all of them have said Hua Hin. And I'm thinking, wow, okay. And then just to reinforce it, yesterday, that couple, they traveled all through Thailand. And he went on to complain about he was in Phuket, somewhere near Phuket. Everything's sold out right now. Thailand's just busting at the seams with tourism. It's at high season. I thought it was going to decline here quickly, but it's still going. All hotels are full. You can't even get a room a lot of places in town here. A lot of guys I talked to, like that couple, they had to live like 10 miles out of town. And then and another guy I talked to today, Australian, he booked out of town too because there's nothing available in town. It's full. And the guy, the Polish couple, he was complaining is Russians. He says Phuket is just overflowing with Russians, and the prices have went crazy. He was telling me $160 or $300 for a cup of coffee, just crazy high prices there. And the room prices were going crazy because they were sold out of everything, and if you could get a place, it was really expensive. So yeah, there's some over tourism problems can be had too. And he said, and that was the reason he liked it here. Hua Hin has a little of both. It's not real crazy like a lot of the other places in Thailand. It's either real crazy or probably really remote. I don't personally know. I haven't traveled much of it. Although I've driven from Bangkok on the bus down to Hua Hin, and from Hua Hin I drove down to Ranong, and that's getting down to southern Thailand. That's sort of near Phuket, but that was beautiful country. I thought I could probably live down that direction. I don't know Another thing, though, is the smog. You know, you have to consider the smog. And a lot of the areas in Thailand are pretty bad with that, too. So combined with the over-tourism, which it wouldn't be good to live around that so much. Even here, it's kind of maxing me out on tourists. There's a huge tourist influx that comes in right during the high season. And I guess it's going to go here pretty soon. I remember when I came, it wasn't this many people, but boy, it sure turned on like a switch. And all of a sudden, buses came into town, and all of a sudden, the hotel's all filled up. The mall is completely packed with people. The roads were traffic jammed one direction usually every day, every morning and evening. So yeah, there's that. The air quality in a lot of places like Bangkok, you couldn't breathe it. Getting down southern Thailand more, it gets a little cleaner air because you're getting away from the mainland where they're burning in Cambodia. Right now it's really burning season. I noticed this morning, even here, the air ain't as nice and clean and crisp. Like, man, I'd pay for a good hit of Alaskan cool air right now just because it's so tasty and good, you know. Here it's got a bit of taste of the smog. It don't stink here. I don't smell a stink in the air, and I see a bit of haze, but a lot of it's burning, and I'm kind of a firefighter. I'm used to being around smoky areas and stuff, so it does that in Alaska too. Where I was from, we get forest fires and it smokes up the area, so a lot of places on earth you can't get away from that, but you do have to be able to breathe. Like Chiang Mai, I couldn't live there. That would be a no go for me. Bangkok is another one. I could not live there. It's absolutely unbreathable from what I hear. You know, it's like the third worst in the world, seventh worst in the world, and that's with India and China compared. This is kind of close to China, so you probably get a lot of the bad air coming from China, depending on the wind too. So yeah, that's kind of the sucky part of Asia, is the air, and the water quality ain't quite as good. Although the water quality here is pretty decent, you know, people can swim in it and stuff. It's not a trashy beach. There's actually people that go up every day and pick up stuff on the beach, pick up trash every day. People feed the dogs. There's not a crime problem whatsoever. I don't see any crime problem. No beggar problem. There's no beggars. You don't see that. Especially the kids are all well taken care of, well mannered, all in school. You don't see any street kids like in the Philippines or other areas of South America. You'd probably see it. Here, there's a lot of Russians. I've come to realize, you don't know, you see all these foreigners and for all you know, they all look like Americans to me, you know, because Americans, we all could be looking different, you know. But they're all European, and a lot of them are Russians. And that Polish couple that I talked to yesterday, and he's complained about the Russian. He said, there's so many down there. And he goes, I know, and I speak Russian. He says, I even speak Russian, but it's just too many. The prices have been driven up. And I see it here too. There's a lot of Russians here. I can't imagine what that would do to the local Thai actual family, you know, trying to make it on a budget in an area where all of a sudden it gets boomed. He said he woke up where he was staying, and I think it was right out of town here, and he said there was 100 Chinese showed up. I don't know if it was out here he was talking about, or down in Phuket where he was talking about. He said one day that he had the resort to themselves almost, and then the next morning he woke up and there was 100 Chinese eating breakfast there. He freaked out. It was too much. But anyway, so yeah, everybody I've talked to that was seasoned, well, travelers around the world all say Hua Hin. And the population of foreigners here right now, if you look, you swear it's almost 50 Thai, you know, 50 Thai and 50 foreigners. And when I hear them speak, I can get the sense that half of those, at least half or more, are Russian, I would say. But then another guy pointed it out to me yesterday. Can you tell the difference between Ukrainian and Russian? I'm like, no. That makes sense. So there's probably a lot of Ukrainians here. I think a lot of them fleeing the war. There ain't not much Ukraine left. So I imagine a lot that could afford to get out probably did come here. But a lot of Russians sure did. I'm pretty sure a lot of them are Russians. I can smell potatoes and cabbage boiling when I walk down the hall here in this condo. But anyway, and I hear them talk. A lot of Russians crowd around the pool and stuff. I see them every day on the beach. There's a lot of Russians. But a lot of French too. I hear a lot of French. Not a lot. I hear more Russian than French. I hear some Italian. But anyway, if anybody ever says hi or hello and I hear it's in a no accent, like an American or Canadian, North American accent, I gotta go up and talk, you know, and I try to. I've been bumping into these subscribers lately. I bumped into two yesterday, or one yesterday and one today. A guy from Canada yesterday, Saskatchewan, I believe. Gary, shout out to you. Good talking to you. Alan this morning, I met, he's Australian. We had a pretty good walk up the beach. I happened to look down and it looked like a barramundi, a dead one on the beach. Luckily I had an Australian with me. Hey, is that a barramundi right there? Look, yeah, it could be. So that was pretty funny. But yeah, it was good talking to you too. And I got a couple guys, Mike and Kim, staying here in the building. So I'm getting to know some people and friends, making friends. I got another buddy YouTuber, he's upcoming, Happy Ty Gilmore, or Scotty doesn't know. He's just does mostly shorts on Hua Hin. If you're into golf, check his channel out. You'll see his shorts pop up. He's full of tattoos and weightlifting and stuff. He's got abs and pretty ripped. Young guy from California. So yeah, so I'm meeting some people around here in Hua Hin, and that's cool. If you happen to see me walk by and you're watching my videos, come up and say hi. It's always good to meet somebody and be ready to have your ear talked off. You know, it's kind of funny when guys that never get the chance to speak English get to talk to somebody else that speaks English. You know, you're just both wrapping your gums, because it actually is a release when you're done. It almost feels like you had an orgasm. You know, it's weird because you haven't had a chance to really talk to anybody. And we're human creatures. Even though you can be recluse, it's always good to talk to fellow humans that can understand you. You know, it's a bit depressing when you're walking around, especially when you're seeing a lot of foreigner people that look just like you, but you can't talk to them either. You know? You're like, wow, I hear I'm in Thailand, I can't speak with the Thais, and then there's all these foreigners around me too, but they all speak a different language. You can't speak to them. So, you know, it's the dilemma. And I feel sorry for them that can't speak English or Thai, and they have to communicate in English to a Thai. That's hard to do, and those people got my total respect. But anyway, those are just a few of the things I can think of. I was just wanting to mention that I met another guy that was well-traveled all through Thailand, and again, he said here he liked it. It was just the right amount of nightlife, the right amount of mellowness. There's a lot of old folks here. I will say that. In fact, this building is almost like living in an old folks home. There's all these retired people, but they've been living here, some of them 10 years. So there's something good about this place, and I'm gonna stick around for a while and find out what. And I'll keep checking for you guys, and I'll be asking around all these people. If I see world travelers, I'll be sure to ask them for you. Where's the best place so you can retire? Or I'll go visit it myself. But yeah, so far it looks like all the boxes are checked right here. The best I can find myself. I'm not a world traveler, but I'm smart. I use other people's travels and let them spend their money and tell me where the best place is. But anyway, I hope you learned something. Anyway, thanks for liking. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.